Buongiorno a tutti. Thanks for joining me again in my little kitchen here in Lecce in the south of Italy. My name's Francesco and today I'm going to do another pasta bake using anelletti Siciliani, the little Sicilian pasta rings. I'm going to use eggplant today, so it's going to be a vegetarian dish, not because I don't like meat, but because I love vegetables. And this is going to be the same ingredients that you would use in pasta alla norma, but in a different way. Instead of fresh basil, I'm going to use pesto. I'm going to use salted ricotta and a tomato sauce, the eggplant itself, a little bit of breadcrumbs, and the magic that the oven will bring. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you do, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, do subscribe to the channel and come back and follow me for more. Let's cook. For today's recipe you are going to need eggplant, salted ricotta, passata, garlic, pesto, breadcrumbs, anelletti Siciliani, and a good extra virgin olive oil. Let's begin by trimming the end from the eggplant and slicing it as thinly as possible. This way we'll be able to bake it in the oven and avoid frying, and if we cut it nice and thinly it will bake between 10 and 15 minutes. We'll leave about a third of the eggplant to cut into a relatively small dice to add into the sauce, like so. Make sure to use up any of the leftover end pieces. We don't want anything to go to waste. Next we need to take a small clove of garlic and finely chop it. Season the eggplant slices with salt and pepper and bake in a preheated oven at 180 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. You'll need to flip them over halfway when they become soft. Next we need to add our salt to the pasta water and we can begin on the sauce. I'm going to start the eggplant off, cooking it just with a pinch of salt with no oil at all in a hot frying pan. Toss it, keep stirring it, and soon the eggplant will begin to brown, and in the meantime we can start the pasta cooking. Strangely enough, these tiny rings take about 20 minutes to cook, which will give us enough time to prepare the sauce. Season the eggplant with a little bit of pepper and keep stirring continuously at a high temperature. After about 7 or 8 minutes, have a look at those eggplant slices, which will be very steamy and soft now, and flip them over once, return them to the oven, and finish cooking them on the other side for a further 5 or 6 minutes. Meanwhile, the eggplant will have become nice and brown and the pan will be very hot, so turn off the heat, add a little bit of oil and add the garlic. There's plenty of heat in the pan for the garlic to begin frying. We don't want to burn it. After a minute or so, we can stir everything together and get the eggplant coated in oil. This is my method of choice for frying eggplant, otherwise it tends to soak up so much oil like a sponge. I really don't like the result. Speaking of eggplant, the baked eggplant is ready now and we can set it to one side and carry on with the sauce. Add the passata, rinse your container out with water to not let anything go to waste. If the pan is very hot like this, turn down the heat and let it simmer for the rest of the time that the pasta takes to cook. Let it reduce down, the eggplant soften, and all of the flavours combine together with the garlic. Season with some freshly ground black pepper and take a look how the pasta is doing. By now, it should be almost al dente. Drain the pasta and then take a little bit of the sauce and set it to one side before stirring the pasta into the remaining sauce and letting it sit and absorb all of the sauce and flavour whilst we prepare the other ingredients. Stir it in well and let it keep on cooking with the residual heat of the pasta and the sauce itself till it absorbs it and swells up nicely. In the meantime, we can take the cooked eggplant, add the pesto and stir this in well so it all gets nicely coated and moistened. Now we can take our baking dish, spread it out with olive oil, sprinkle generously with breadcrumbs to avoid anything sticking and burning. Make sure all of the edges are coated and then begin lining the outer edges with the pesto coated eggplant slices. See how lovely and green they are? This way they shouldn't burn while they're in the oven. These are going to crisp up nicely while we bake the pasta, which we can now add one layer, which we're going to level out, and then we're going to grate this generously with salted ricotta. Now we're going to add the remaining pasta on top, level this out too, and add the sauce that we set to one side to make sure that the topping is lovely and moist. Spread the sauce around evenly and then grate once more generously with salted ricotta. Once we have a nice layer of salted ricotta, we're going to add some breadcrumbs which will crisp up nicely, and of course a nice drizzle of extra virgin olive oil to make it become golden brown. Any remaining sauce we can add, and then this can also go into that hot oven at 180 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, just until everything becomes nice and golden and brown. Like so. It's going to need to rest for a good 10 minutes before it's safe to eat. This is going to be screamingly hot, so be careful when you serve it up. You can also wait longer for it to set more, but I do like it nice and hot. And doesn't that just look delicious? Enjoy. Buon appetito!